And of course, we want to thank Gary and Aaron for taking up some time to talk with you guys. Before we open things up to questions, I just want to see if Gary, if you wanted to just say anything on, of course, rejoining the IronPigs once again. But if not, of course, we can go right into the questions. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to give an opening statement if you had anything specific you wanted to say.
Well, man, first of all, it's good to see all of you guys. I mean, believe it or not, I missed you guys over the summer, and so it's been good to get back up there and in the valley and get back going again, and just kind of get a little bit of cool weather, see the deer as we're leaving the ballpark at night. Just kind of get back in the mix. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. All righty. So let's open up for questions. Tom, if you want to start, you feel free to get us going.
Gary, take us back to 1987 when that would have been your first year in AAA. What would it have been like for you knowing that you're expecting to play 120, 140 games, and then you have to go through what guys had to go through last year, missing out on that season of playing AAA ball?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of twofold, to be honest with you. I think, it was different from the perspective of the guys just not getting that same type of competitive spirit playing against another uniform, playing against their own guys on a daily basis. So I think that was you really have to have some mental discipline to be able to do that every day. But on the flip side, I think it was a great opportunity for guys to be able to get to the major leagues. I mean, I don't know if the guys have a better route as far as being able to get to the major leagues in one given year because of just because of things that was going on with the COVID and the rosters were expanded and that type of thing. So I think it would have been it was kind of a twofold situation for players.
How do you think most of them handled it? Based on what you said?
Well, I mean, quite naturally, I wasn't there, but just talking to Truby and the guys the Rovers that were there, all the guys did an outstanding job of coming to the ballpark and preparing themselves on a daily basis. I mean, because it wasn't easy. I mean, those guys spent 3 or 4 months there, and they were basically just going out working out every day. Did have some sim games, that type of thing, but it was basically guys get to the ballpark every day working out, and from a mental standpoint, those guys have to be mentally strong to be able to go and do that grind every day.
Thank you, sir.
Chuck, do you have a question?
Yeah, Gary. Have you been able to see any of the younger minor leaguers in camp, and how do you think they've been affected by everything?
But yeah, I'm over on quite naturally we got the major league guys and some mini camp guys here. And when you say younger guys, are you talking about the Moniacs or the Meitans?
Guys that won't be at AAA this year, AA and below, or that are just starting their professional careers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Stott and Rojas, Garcia. These guys have actually been impressive. I mean, Rojas, a young outfielder, nice body, quickness, can run, got a little sock in his bat. Garcia, middle infielder, who we're high on, catch the ball, switch hitter, very high upside. And of course, I think we're all familiar with Stott, who was drafted a couple of years ago from, I think, UNLV, right? And he's been doing well. He's been playing a little bit second and short, and so he's been impressive. Can swing the bat, left-handed hitter, catches the ball, got a strong arm. So, these young kids have been impressive, and even when they've come over and played in the major league games, they haven't been intimidated. They've been impressive just going out and doing things the right way.
What are your thoughts on the minor leagues being used kind of to test out some of the new potential rules?
Well, I mean, I've heard about a few of them, I guess, and I'm kind of an old school guy where I tend not to want to mess with the game too much, but I understand sometimes if it's for the safety of the players, that's the best. That may be the best way to go. But and I'm sure baseball, MLB, is going to be on top of everything and figure out what works and what doesn't work. So, we'll go with the flow and see how it goes.
Thanks.
Steve?
Gary, are there any guys in camp right now who didn't play last year, whether it was in Philadelphia or in taxi squad? And if so, did you notice how maybe their skills need a little more time to catch up as a result of that?
I mean, I think as a whole, the organization has done a really good job of keeping these guys prepared all summer. I mean, you look at something like I just mentioned those 3 young kids, but take it a step further. You look at some guys like Marshawn, who did an outstanding job in the alternate site last year, and eventually got to the big leagues. You're looking at the Meitans. You look at Moniak, who was in the alternate site, got a little taste of a major league. So you look at Meitan, you look at Derek Hall. I mean, so there's a abundance of guys here that, even though maybe they didn't get a chance to play a full season last year, I think the development was still happening because the organization did such a great job of communicating with them, staying on top of them. They sent film in of them actually doing drills and taking batting practice and doing all the work that needs to get done. So I think from that standpoint, are they further along than probably would have been if we'd have played an actual season? Probably no, but they didn't actually lose a full year either because they did get some work done.
I know it's way too early to know what the team's going to look like in May, but is it going to be a nice blend of maybe some older guys plus younger guys sprinkled in there? Or what do you feel the makeup of your team might be?
Well, you said it. It's a little early. A lot of it is predicated on what happens with some of the players at the major league level, the guys that maybe stay, the guys that have outs, that type of thing. But I do feel like we're going to have an abundance of talent that's been developed within this organization. So I'm not going to try to start naming names or anything like that. So I'm not exactly sure who might be there. I got somewhat of an idea, but I don't want to name names and then something different happens. But I think hopefully we're going to have an abundance of young talent, talented guys that's come through this Phillies organization.
And do you know at this point what your role or what's going to happen in April with the alternate site for you guys?
Well, I mean, we're still kind of talking, going over it. I know we're supposed to break you at the end of the month. We'll get up and the Lehigh and probably take a day off to kind of get everybody settled in and then get started. And I think what we're going to maybe try to do some kind of way is mirror our workouts as close to the major league games as possible, so that we can kind of stay on track with that, and these guys can kind of get on a routine and be on the same time phrase as the major league club, so to speak. Maybe we'll start a little bit earlier, but it won't be a situation where if the major league club has a night game, we'll have a morning workout or anything like that. We'll probably have an afternoon or evening workout if the major league club has a night game and vice versa. So. But it's kind of early to tell exactly what our schedule, is going to look like on a daily basis.
What are your impressions of Meitan so far?
Meitan has done an outstanding job. I mean, he's been impressive. He's been playing all over the diamond on the infield, second, third, and short. He's making the plays. I mean, he swung the bat well, and he's gotten stronger, which is always good to see. I mean, he's a pretty big kid. I mean, he's around 6'2", 6'3", and he's gotten stronger over this past year. And so, looking for this to be a big positive year for him.
Do you think he has one position he's particularly stronger at in the infield, or do you think he's capable of playing all of them at that next level?
Well, I mean, he came up as a shortstop, so I think we all feel like he's capable of playing shortstop. But he's been working second base and third base, and he's played them in the spring training games, and he's done well. So, I'm sure if you asked him, he'd probably say he would rather play short. But when you are a young kid and you have an avenue to get to the big leagues by playing shortstop, second base, and third base, I don't think it matters to him. I think he just wants that opportunity, and if that opportunity means he has to play third base or second base, so be it. But as of right now, I think playing shortstop and playing second base is going to be probably the two positions that he played somewhat the most, but he'll also mix in some third base.
Steve or Chuck, any other follow-up questions?
Yeah, I have one more for you, Gary. You mentioned Marshawn, and obviously he opened Joe's eyes during spring training last year and got a chance to get to the big leagues at the end of the season. What do you like about him, and how has he developed behind the plate in the last couple of years?
Well, I mean, he's done well. I mean, honestly, last year I didn't get a chance to see him a whole lot, but I've got my eyes on him this spring. I mean, he's a strong kid. He's gotten stronger. Just the guys I've talked to about him said he's matured over the last couple of years, gotten bigger and stronger. I like that he's a switch hitter. I like that he throws very well. He receives well. He's got a very nice arm. So there's a lot of positives to talk about with Marshawn. And then he's only, I think, 22. He's a young kid. So there's a lot of upside, and I think he's going to be a real good one for the Phillies.
Gary, just quickly, I know you had talked about Moniak, but what kind of specific development have you seen out of him? Because he started slowly in the minors, and he's really come on the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's just confidence. Confidence. He's gotten stronger, and then just getting the reps, getting the playing time. I mean, if you think about it, in this world of baseball, sometimes we put timetables on kids that we want them to have, that we think they should have. But everybody's timetable is a little different. Some guys, it might take 3 years. Some guys, it might take 5 years. Some guys may go from AA to the big leagues. Some guys may have to spend 2 or 3 years in AAA. So that timetable is different for each guy. And so I just think Moniak has matured. He's starting to figure it out. Most importantly, he's starting to get ABs. He's starting to get reps. And as you do that, when you're a talented player, things start to progress for you. You start to figure some things out.
Thanks.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much. Gary, pleasure seeing you, and thank you so much for your time. And we look forward to seeing you back here in Lehigh Valley very soon. So enjoy the rest of your time in Clearwater.
All right, Tom and Steve and Chuck, you guys, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Come on in the office, and maybe I can give you some of those stale answers that you always like to get from me.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys.
We'll see you.
There you go.
All right.
I guess I'm on the seat now, huh?
You're on, Aaron. Aaron, I want to thank you for your time. And we're here with three of our closest beat guys and whatnot. So before we open up questions for them, just want to give you an opportunity for a statement just on, joining Lehigh Valley this season, and anything else you'd like to say before we open up for questions.
Well, first of all, you called me Aaron. I never hear that. It's always Fultz. So sometimes I won't turn around and look for that. But no, I was really excited last year to find out I was going to Lehigh, and obviously I ended up going, but it was for the taxi squad. So I love the area. It's beautiful. I enjoyed it. I love the outdoors, so it seems like it's perfect for me. But no, I'm really excited to get to AAA.
All right, we'll open things up for questions. Tom, we'll start with you.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Good.
Take me back to 98 when you first hit AAA, and imagine what it would have been like to have that season taken away from you and you kind of sitting at home rather than going through the daily routine for 6 months, what that would have been like and what you can kind of relate to these guys, what they went through last year.
Well, I'll throw it to 99 just because 98, I got caught up halfway through the season, or most of the way through the end of the season. But in 99, to be honest, I wouldn't have liked it at all. And I would have started doing electrician's work the day I got home, probably. Unlike our guys, in all honesty, they took advantage of the downtime, like between getting their bodies stronger, all the information now between all the different sources that they have with all drills. They just got stronger and better. I mean, all the guys that I've seen and talked to over the winter, they took advantage of the situation. Obviously, you can't replace innings and games, but their actual throwing and strength of throwing and probably stuff got better as well. And to be blunt, I wouldn't have done any of that probably. I mean, this was 22 years ago or so. So, I mean, in all honesty, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that stuff, and probably not a desire either, because at that point I had 2 kids and I would have had to put money on the table too. So,
Anybody in particular you had contact with more than others, or those that reached out to you that you've kind of seen and worked with a little bit so far this year?
say that again. I'm sorry.
Anybody in particular from last year that you had conversation with, Parkinson or somebody that kind of took advantage of that situation and you've seen them a bit this spring?
Parkinson is a big name that really changed some stuff. I mean, he's always going to be changing stuff, though. He's very big thinker, so to speak. He overanalyzes a lot of stuff, but he's very intelligent and does well. But just thinking of the guys that weren't in the taxi squad. I mean, Hammer got there late, and I like the way he's throwing the ball, but he did get to that taxi squad late. Gosh, I'm thinking. I mean, just there's several younger guys here. Bailey Falter is one of them. Eric Miller is another, which I'd never seen Miller throw. Falter I'd had for 2 years,
right.
And he's been really impressive. Just gotten stronger, a little bit more velocity. I mean, I could probably list 10 or 15 people, but I can't ever remember who went to the alt site and who didn't. But a lot of them took very good advantage of their time off.
Great.
Steve?
Hey, Fultz, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I want to talk about some of the guys that we did see at the alternate site last year. A Damon Jones and a Sanchez, guys with great arms. What did they get out of that experience last year, and what have you seen from them so far this spring?
I mean, I think just facing some probably more talented hitters, especially for Sanchez. I think that helped him quite a bit. I know Sanchez also had some stuff done this winter, some work that he did working on his curveball and changeup that I think is going to make a big difference, as long as we keep it, in the zone or closer to the zone. Jonesy, I mean, his stuff's never been in question. It's just the ability to, put it in the zone or at least have good misses. Both of their stuffs have been outstanding. I don't know that their, command, they're probably not happy with that themselves. But as far as stuff, they're really good.
Is there anybody else from last year that going into this year that kind of impressed you with what they did in Allentown?
Yovera looks a whole lot better. He was late getting here due to, I think, a visa issue or something. But I've seen both his live his sim games, and they have been pretty electric. I'm thinking De Los Santos has been outstanding. He's been really, really good here. I know he had a bad couple of pitches where he gave up, some hard hits, but he struck out a lot of guys, and they're not seeing the ball well. I'm just trying to think who all is coming back.
Brogdon.
Brogdon. Well, Brogdon was funny because I had him for a little bit of time in the years previous, and last year when he went up and then came back down, he was just, I'm going to say, not very confident. And then he came back. Then when he went back up, he was lights out. He's been, if anything, the confidence level for him has been really good for him because now he's aggressive and he gets after guys. He's been very, very good.
Aaron, with last season, guys not getting as much pitching in as they would have normally gotten, are you concerned about injuries this season and guys bouncing back from that?
We had a process to where we had innings limits we expected our guys to get to, as far as even if it's in like a simulated game or a bullpen where you simulate it, where there was certain numbers that, they should get, 4 to 5 innings a week, 7 innings a week, whatever, but a yearly progression. With that being said, I'm pretty sure most of them stuck to it. Some of them may not have, but I don't know if it's the part to where You know, I mean, there's probably going to be a little bit of more injuries, but there may be less too because they have had a year off. I mean, you know, a year and a half, almost 2 years completely, really. So maybe they're stronger, and you know, you take the wear and tear out of that 1 year. So I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I don't know to expect more or less, or I would imagine we're probably going to be a little more cautious, just on innings restrictions. I don't know that for sure, but that's just, you know, something that I would imagine.
And you mentioned De Los Santos. What's the difference in him? Is it velocity? Is it a different pitch?
I think velocity is a big part of it, but I also think deception is a bigger part too. Because like last year, and you have to remember, I haven't seen Delo before last spring training. You could just see the ball a little bit at times. When it would come out, you could see it early, and it got hit. And right now, they're just not seeing it very well. I mean, and his velo was up probably 3 or 4 miles an hour as well. But I mean, even with that velo, they're just not picking it up.
That a situation where the Phillies might be very fortunate that he wasn't claimed on waivers or taken in the Rule 5 draft if he makes these adjustments?
I mean, just from the stats, I read a stat thing the other day and I didn't realize it, but he's got 9 strikeouts in 3 1/3 inning or something. Or that was the other day. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you can never have too much pitching. And hopefully we can, I hate to say stockpile, but we can have a lot of good options for the, you know, for the Phillies and Allentown or Lehigh. And yeah, I mean, as of right now, I think we got very fortunate.
Talk about a guy like Kyle Dowie, who had a kind of up and down AAA debut in 2019. Misses out on last year. He's got a bit of an injury this year. Where is he at mentally and physically?
I think mentally he's okay. Physically, he threw a pin today. I mean, as far as like, I'm probably the wrong guy to ask on Kyle because I had him for about 3 weeks in 2018 and 3 weeks in 2019, something like that. And I think he's struck out 100 and walked 2, or, you know, I mean, no, he's been outstanding for me. I mean, I've only had him for like 6 weeks and 2 seasons, but he's been very, very, very good every time I've seen him. And again, you know, watching games on video to me is a little bit hard. I mean, I watched most of his outings last year or 2 years ago in Allentown after he left me and struggled. But I think if anybody can handle it, he should be able to, because he's actually a very confident kid, and hopefully we can just get him off on the right foot and turn him loose.
Spencer Howard, I know, got scratched from the start with some back spasms, but what have you seen of him this spring, and what do you think of him?
He's another one that, you know, I've seen very limited action in person. You know, I had him in Reading for maybe a month, and he was lights out. Last year at the alt side, he was good, but not as good as he had been. And right now, the innings that I've seen here, I mean, his ball's just got more life on it, and the velocity as well. I mean, the velocity is probably up, you know, a couple miles an hour, but just the life. I mean, I'm sure there's a scientific word for it, but I just call it life at the top of the zone. I mean, it just has that little extra gear, and, you know, it looks really good. His curveball's a little bit harder, and his changeup's been, you know, dominant. So, again, hopefully he can knock that little back thing out and get ready.
What have you seen from Rosso, and how do you think he's adjusting to perhaps being a long man in his future with the Phillies?
I think he will adjust well. He threw a sim game today and looked pretty good. You know, he's got a lot of tools, a lot of pitches to go to. So if he's under control and can throw his 94-mile-an-hour fastball with cut on it, I think he'd be great. We just have to find his happy spot to where he can control the zone and with his good stuff instead of, you know, walking too many people.
Any last questions for Aaron before we let him go? Guess we're good at this time. Aaron, I want to thank you so much for giving up some of your time, and we look forward to seeing you here up in Lehigh Valley in a couple of weeks. So,
I'm counting down the days now.
Exactly.
Thanks, Fultz.
Thanks, Aaron.
Or you're stuck with me.
Nice to meet y'all.
Good seeing you.